Hello, world and universe. Welcome to the Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth. And if you're new to the channel, please hit that like and subscribe button. And for all my continued followers, I want to say thank you. And this is an opinion-based video channel where I try to open your eyes and ears up to some of the travails and tribulations that take place throughout our cities, our states, our country, and sometimes around the world. And boy, have we had a busy month or so, and definitely the last week or two, where started out with the bombing of Venezuelan boats in the Atlantic, with President Trump and his administration claiming that those Venezuelan boats were trying to bring drugs into the United States. There's been controversy and allegations that that was not true and that innocent people were getting killed. Even fishermen were on those boats and not drug dealers. So it's been a lot of controversy there. There's been a couple of bombings that we saw on national news of these Venezuelan boats being bombed. And then here in the last week or so, we've had the scenario with ICE, with issues going on inside the United States, where ICE agents have allegedly, an ICE agent allegedly killed a woman in Minnesota. And then a day or two later, ICE agents shot two people in Portland, Oregon. Also, I forgot to tell you that after the Venezuelan boats were bombed, we had the capture of the Venezuelan president, whose name is Nicolas Maduro Moros. I know they're calling him President Maduro, as actually his middle name. And who is he exactly? And I have a couple of questions. Do we have a legal and or moral authority to go over to his country and snatch him and his wife and arrest them and send them to New York, the Southern District of New York? Is America policing not only the United States, but are we policing the world? I know we're supposed to be the #1 leader in this world that we live in, but do we have the capability and the action ability to police and rule the entire world, not only our country? The closest thing I can relate to the capture of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro, would be when we went after Saddam Hussein in Iraq, all under the auspices that George Bush II went after Saddam Hussein, allegedly because Saddam Hussein was tried to kill George Bush the father, George Bush I, I call it. And subsequently, that we did capture Saddam Hussein in his own country, like we did with Nicolas Maduro. And was it all about removing somebody that was bad, or was it about what's in the ground? And here's the commonality with the Middle East, Iraq, and Venezuela is the oil reserves. And Venezuela is supposed to be the #1 place, or is definitely in the top 3 for oil wells and oil reserves underground. So did we really want to capture the Venezuelan president? Was he really a drug dealer? Was it all about getting him off the streets? Do we have the legal authority to go into Venezuela to do that? Or is this really about the oil? Is this smoke and mirrors? I'm not sure. But let's try to find out. I never knew who Nicolas Maduro Moros was until now. He's all over the news. And as I said, does this sound similar to the capture of when we went after Saddam Hussein, was George Bush II? Of course, we destroyed much of the Middle East and bombed them. And guess what? Dick Cheney's ex-company, Halliburton, had the contract to rebuild the Middle East and parts of Iraq. So Halliburton got the construction company, had the construction company to rebuild Iraq for billions and billions of dollars. And then were we also there to capture the oil reserves? under the Bush-Cheney administration. And then now we have the arrest of the Venezuelan president, Nicolas Maduro Moros. And is it about removing him as a drug kingpin, or is it really about the oil? So let's get into who he is. Who is Nicolas Maduro Moros? So he was definitely wanted. His name is Nicolas Maduro Moros. There was a reward for up to $50 million for his capture. Nicolas Maduro Moros, his date of birth is November 23rd, 1962. He's from Caracas, Venezuela. His nationality is Venezuelan, and his citizenship is Venezuelan. He's about 6'3", hair colored black, eye colored brown. And Nicolas Maduro Moros became president of Venezuela following Hugo Chávez's death in 2013 and declared victory in a presidential election in 2018. In 2019, the National Assembly of Venezuela invoked the Venezuelan Constitution and declared that Maduro had usurped power and was not the president of Venezuela. Since 2019, more than 50 countries, including the United States, have refused to recognize Maduro as Venezuela's head of state. So there's been controversy ever since he has taken office, going all the way back to 2013 when Hugo Chávez died. In July 2024 Venezuelan presidential election, Maduro again declared himself the victor, despite evidence to the contrary. United States joined many other countries in refusing to recognize Maduro as the legitimately elected president in the 2024 contested election. Maduro helped manage and ultimately led the Cartel of the Suns. So listen to the associations that the groups that he's associated with that are considered drug lords and cartel. Maduro helped manage and ultimately lead the Cartel of the Suns, a Venezuelan drug trafficking organization comprised of high-ranking Venezuelan officials. As he gained power in Venezuela, Maduro participated in a corrupt and violent narco-terrorism conspiracy with the Revolutionary Army Forces of Colombia. I'm going to say it again, the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, called FARC, F-A-R-C, Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, which is a designated foreign terrorist organization. Maduro negotiated multi-ton shipments of FARC-produced cocaine, directed the Cartel of the Suns to provide military-grade weapons to the FARC, coordinated with narcotics traffickers in Honduras and other countries to facilitate large-scale drug trafficking, and solicited assistance from FARC, F-A-R-C, leadership in training an unsanctioned militia group that functioned, in essence, as an armed forces unit for the Cartel of the Suns. So this is a little backstory on Maduro and his association with the Cartel of the Suns and FARC. In March 2020, Maduro was charged in the Southern District of New York for narco-terrorism, conspiracy to import cocaine, possession of machine guns and destructive devices, and conspiracy to possess machine guns and destructive devices. After initially offering a reward offer of up to $15 million for information leading to the arrest and or the conviction of Maduro in 2020, this is during Trump's first term, the Department of State on January 10, 2025, increased the reward to up to $25 million for Maduro's capture. On August 7, 2025, the department announced a further increase in the reward of offer for up to $50 million. So the United States has been after this guy, allegedly, since at least 2020. So that's almost 6 years now. So for most of us who are probably were not aware or paying attention what was going on in Venezuela. We're trying to figure out how did this situation just pop, this Maduro guy, the president of Venezuela, just pop up on President Trump's radar. But evidently, he's been on the U.S. government and other countries' radar for at least 5 to 6 years. So they increased the reward to up to $50 million, the highest reward for a capture of a person ever. And that was after the Department of Treasury sanctioned Cartel of the Suns as a specially designated global terrorist group on July 25th, 2025. As leader of Cartel of the Suns, Maduro is the first target in the history of the narcotics rewards program with a reward offering exceeding $25 million, going all the way up to $50 million. So Venezuelan President Maduro has an association with the Cartel of the Suns and a group called the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, called FARC. So he's been on the radar for at least 6 years, and during Trump's first administration, and now he has been captured. But it makes you wonder, what about some of these other smaller third world countries like Honduras, like Costa Rica, even Vietnam, some of these places that have grown poppy seeds all the way back to the Vietnam War, who have been allegedly involved in drug trafficking and illegal narcotics producing in some of these countries. We have to ask ourselves the question in the United States of America: do we have the legal and moral authority to go into any of these other countries, whether it's Cuba, Honduras, Colombia, Vietnam, some of these Central America, third world countries, even the Middle East? Do we have a right to go in and capture their president based under the auspices that they're either doing something wrong, illegal, or that we don't agree with them? Is this for the sanctitude, for the safety and liberties for America and for the world as a whole? Or is the United States the police over not only the United States, but over the entire world? That begs the question, and where does the Supreme Court sit with this? Did we have a right to go into Venezuela and capture and arrest Nicolas Maduro Moros and his wife? Tell me what you think. This has been a Trevor Donald Experience. Manifest your truth.